What up, everybody? Power Book 4 for Season 2, Episode 7 is titled The Shy is Heating Up, and there is definitely a lot to unpack from this episode as we are getting down to the final 3 episodes of the season. So today I'm talking about the key takeaways and clues from Force Episode 207. Starting off with the fact that Lori Lewis from the DOJ is turning up the pressure on Stacey Marks and her RICO case after the Crimson projects were burnt down. This caused Stacey to start pressuring Vic even harder, and she got him to wear a wire to the meeting between Tommy and the DSDs. But the wire had an on and off switch, so if you notice Vic messing with his necklace throughout the meeting, it was because he was turning the device on and off. This is something Marks will obviously notice, and she won't be happy about that at all. Agent Vargas also gave Vic a tracking device to put on Tommy's car. This is reminiscent to the tracking device they had on Tommy's car in Power. But after the meeting with the DSDs, Tommy was dropping Vic off at his car, and Tommy spotted Agent Vargas again, waiting for Vic in the parking lot. So Tommy waited around only to see Vic meeting up with Agent Vargas. But Tommy used no kind of common sense, logic, or restraint to find out what was really going on, like listening to what was being said, so he would find out that Vic was an informant. Then he could have killed them both. But instead, Tommy ran up on them, pulling his gun out on Vargas, and made Vic prove that he wasn't a snitch by killing Agent Vargas. But Tommy left Vic with no choice. What else was Vic supposed to do in that situation? Going from Tommy's major problems with law enforcement to Diamond being the model citizen for his parole officer. So at this point, Diamond has now earned his probation officer's trust, and even though he still has to take drug tests, the PO isn't suspicious of him anymore. Matter of fact, he thinks Diamond has turned his life around to the point he asked Diamond to give a speech at the Crimson Projects. Diamond wasn't going to do it at first, but after thinking about it, he figured it would be a reason to reach out to Gianna and Leon. And it paid off for Diamond because he did end up hooking up with Gianna at the end of this episode after he gave the speech. And she also said that her and Jamal hadn't been together for a minute. But it was Diamond's speech that got my attention. Diamond gave a good speech. He put down his notes and just told the people the truth, how he really felt in his heart. The thing is, to me it sounded like Diamond is a man who is considering getting out of the life. Diamond also has a parole board hearing soon, and if he can stay out of trouble until then, it looks like he will be getting off of parole. Getting me to Jenard and Shanti. At the beginning of the episode, we saw Jenard's boy Raheem bad-mouthing Jenard, and Shanti roughed him up because of it. This episode showed several times that Shanti does actually care about Jenard, and that she is loyal to him also. She is just very ambitious herself. Loyalty seems like something that is very important to Shanti. And when Tommy went to go introduce himself to Shanti this episode, it seemed like he possibly could have hit a soft spot with her by mentioning her loyalty to Jenard, because she told Tommy she can respect that at the end of their conversation. As for Jenard, him and his crew have been demoted down to corner boys, and Raheem was running his mouth to Jenard about Tommy the same way he was running his mouth about Jenard to Shanti. So Jenard told Raheem to go get the gun because he was about to clip Tommy. At this point, I thought Jenard was going to relapse, but he is staying clean right now, even though he is still going through withdrawals. But as Jenard was waiting outside Tommy's place, he saw Tommy hooking up with Maria and took a picture of it. Tommy shared the news with Shanti and was about to put Tommy's business on blast when Shanti told Jenard not to interrupt an enemy while he's making a mistake, most likely saving Tommy's life in the process. At this time, we also saw that Jenard got Shanti her chain he stole and traded for H back. Shanti also came home with a bag full of money and came clean to Jenard about working with Claudia Flynn. Also, if you noticed, when Jenard was waiting outside of Tommy's place when Maria pulled up, she wasn't getting off of the bus. She was pulling up in the same car that she was shopping for last episode. Earlier in the episode, CBI held a coalition meeting where Jenard was instigating problems, and Tommy had to get in the middle of some guys to calm things down. Vic Flynn noticed Jenard has a grudge against Tommy and said something to him about it after the meeting was over. During this conversation, Jenard brought up to Vic how Claudia was taking over for Scarface, and Vic said that is all she ever wanted. Keep in mind, before she had Walter killed, she got connected with his pill plug and is able to get an unlimited supply of pills. Even when Shanti met with Claudia, she called Claudia the plug. So either though Claudia doesn't have the manpower, and Vic still has that, she has taken over as the pill connect in the city of Chicago. Now her girlfriend wants in on the game and wants to run a certain club herself and said she doesn't need Shanti's help. Claudia also supplies the Serbs with pills, and last episode she did have the Serbs with her for protection. But I'm not sure if they're still with her protecting her at this point or not, getting me to the Serbs getting cut off by El Che. Tommy gave Miguel the idea of setting up a meeting with Che and to get him to cut off the Serbs after they burnt down the Crimson Projects. Che did agree to this and cut Mirkovic and the Serbs off after working with them for over 20 years. Later on, when Miguel was talking to Abuela about everything, she again warned him about Tommy Egan and was on point about everything she said. We also learned that her husband was the most dangerous man in Mexico at one point in time. But Miguel's grandfather ended up getting complacent and they cut out his eyes. And she warned Miguel to not let history repeat itself and let Miguel know that Tommy would be coming for his spot next. And also told him to stay 1 or 2 steps ahead of Tommy at all times. And Miguel is convinced that he is already 2 steps ahead of Tommy, and also that Che doesn't even know who Tommy is. But Tommy has been 2 steps of Miguel all season long, and what Miguel doesn't know is that Mirkovic mentioned Tommy Egan in his meeting with Che, and that Tommy's name is also buzzing all over the city. Getting me to Tommy's meeting with the DSDs and their leader, Chavon Cardenas. Once Tommy got the DSDs on board with the coalition, they would basically be controlling the entire city at this point. After getting a brick thrown through the window of his Mustang on the way in, Chavon agreed that the DSDs would get their weight from CBI and also join the coalition. But like Diamond told Tommy, once they land the DSDs, Miguel will know that they are coming for his spot next. But Tommy was convinced after they land the DSDs, they would be too powerful for Miguel to stop. He will need them too much to do anything to them because he's already put his neck on the line with the cartel. To make matters worse, Miguel already had a meeting set up with the DSDs and will not be happy at all when he finds out that Tommy has already beat him to the punch. And right quick before I go, we learned this episode that they are currently in the month of July. So with that said, I doubt we will see Tommy return to New York this season because book 2 left off in November, right around election time. But we could definitely get a crossover in another way, maybe something that we aren't expecting. And there you have it. Leave your thoughts, theories, and predictions in the comments.